All right, y'all. Welcome to 40 Seconds with 4.0. 40 Seconds with 4.0 is a platform where everybody is able to tell their story. We're able to talk about the ups. We're able to talk about the downs. But this series, I'll be talking to radio legends that's in the game right now, and they're still in radio. And I'm super excited to have Keisha Nicole here today. What's up, Keisha?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
All right, now. So for some people that don't know you, I got a little small bio that I created. All right, so my girl Keisha Nicole is a radio vet who lends her voice and smile to us all. This LA native started her journey at the legendary KDAY LA by working her way up from an intern to a receptionist and then on air. My girl Keisha Nicole has chatted her way through Louisville, Indianapolis, and now she in that H-Town, baby. Yeah. Not only did Keisha Nicole land one of her dream jobs at 97.9 The Box, where she is a morning show host with Kiotti and jmac, she is still hustling, doing her midday show, plus on air on the weekends in Indianapolis. What's up to my girl, Keisha?
Yes, hey.
How about that bio, though? I had to,
I was like, wait, but that was good. Like, you really did your research with that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what we do up here. We gotta go research.
You didn't miss that. I mean, I am on the weekends also in like Raleigh and some other places too, but yeah, you didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything though, for real.
Oh, no. Check me, girl. Check me.
I'm like the voice of a couple of other stations. You know, one in Cleveland and Charlotte and Detroit. So like, yeah.
Okay. So we just want to be like you know what I'm saying? You know, I ain't even put all that in there, but you know what? I'm glad that you said it. I'm glad that you said it because people dream to be voice tracking and being on air somewhere else other than where they are. And not only are you hustling, baby, you was grinding. Like
the grind don't stop. I think with every level of your career, it gets harder. People think that once you have arrived at a certain place or where you think you want to be at, no, you don't. You just get to sit back. No, it gets harder, and your grind has to match where you are at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it just never stops.
No, for sure. So speaking of that, how long you been in radio?
A total, I would say, of like 15 years. If you're counting like when I did college radio, I did radio a couple years. But I started my internship at KDAY in 2006. So that's when I started my internship, and then about a year and a half later, I started being on the air on the weekends there. So I've been in radio a good while now.
I seen that. So I seen that you interned, then you went to the receptionist, and then you got on air. Like, talk about the grind.
I started as an intern, and how I went was I was in a college course. I never went to university. I went to Long Beach City College, and I had a college radio show at Long Beach City College, and we took a field trip to KDAY, and I was the only one that had my resume in my back pocket. And when I went there, what happened was we took a tour, and Nas was there that day. He was getting interviewed by Julio G, and so Nas was like, "Oh, they can stay to watch." And so then afterwards, he invited us to his album release party for, I believe it was Hip Hop Is Dead. I can't remember which one, but we went to the album release party. I had my resume there. Went to the album release party, and I saw the promotions director there, April, and her and I kind of was just chatting. And she called me the next day and gave me the opportunity to come in to interview for a position for internship, and that's how I started. But I always give credit to Nas, because had Nas not been like, "Hey, come to my album release party," I wouldn't have been, chopping it up with April, and she, catching my vibe, and she's like, "Okay, maybe she's a good candidate for intern." It wouldn't have happened like that. So,
bro, nobody has a story like that. Like,
it was super cool. Like, when I tell you, I remember just being there and us running into the elevator and all of us college kids just screaming like, "Oh my gosh, Nas said we can go to this album release party." Yeah. And so the moment changed and went to the album release party, and it was history from there.
So shout out to Nas. Like,
I always wanted to tell him that story, like one day, like, "Yo, thank you so much."
Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
I wouldn't have got my foot into it, bro.
I can't curse on here, but that is one of the, I never knew that. I have never in my life knew that as much research and how much I've talked to you and how much you are my friend. Yeah. I never knew that a day in my life.
Yep, that's how it started. Yep.
Damn, Nas. You know what?
I love Nas too.
What you say? Say it again. I'm sorry.
Some Nas. I have yet to interview him or meet him again or see him again, but I love me some Nas. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, baby, you are favored. Okay, I love it. I love it.
I truly am. You know, when people tell me that, I feel like, but you know, everything I've been through and how God has shined his light on me, and how he has told me, you know, he has told me what's been ordained over my life, and the light that I have. I really accept it now. You know, before I was just like, oh yeah, I'm favored, but you know, no, like I'm truly favored. I really am.
Don't get me up in here preaching and having us go on get us with the sermon, man.
And I will start. I will do not take me to church because I will really go to church because that man has done so much for me. But anyways.
Keisha, I love it. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. And I love how your confidence and how you were like, because I do that a lot. Like I am very blessed in like this industry that I've been in as well. Like, you know, we're in the same industry. And so, and it's funny that me and you, once we met each other, we just vibe. Like it was like, bro, you my dog. Like whatever you need.
I've always went to bat for you. I've always believed in you. I've always believed in your energy and your spirit. And just, I always love people who are kind from the get-go. I was new to Houston, and you were kind to me. So,
oh man, you know, we just had a little what we had? We had some martinis. Well, yeah, I was DJing something, and you
were DJing. We were just sitting there, just talking and vibing. Yeah. You know what? It was Latoria's Limelight Media. I don't want to mess her name of her company up. Was that? Are you at that time?
Yeah, it was Limelight Media, but I feel like we met at the market
before then. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember though.
Okay. Whatever the time is, you've always been just amazing to me, and you know you became like my big sister. You remember I used to hit you up like, what should I do? Like, should I do this? Like,
I remember.
Oh, I was like, so people like you and Dominique the Diva. I be trying my best not to bother y'all, but I be bothering y'all.
And I don't mind. But here's the thing: I don't mind it at all. Like I truly don't, because I wish I really had people to bother. You know, when I was first starting, and because I truly didn't know what women to reach out to for real on radio at the time. And being in LA and being a Black woman in LA, we didn't have many Black radio personalities that were females. Period. And they still don't. And the only one I really could talk to and look up to at the time was Yo-Yo, rapper Yo-Yo. She was on the air when I got there, and she became my mentor, and now my sister. Like she's my real life sister. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I had to look up to.
How important, I'm getting a little bit off, but how important is mentorship and the connections that we have? You know, I've hit you up about several jobs, like, hey, what you think about this position? Or I'm moving to Dallas, or hey, can you look at my air check? Like, how do you feel about mentorship and how important that is?
It's very important because you have to open the door for the next person. And I've always believed that, because when I was younger, the business, it wasn't as friendly as it is now, right? And I think people often thought you were going to take their job if you train them or you help them. But I've always been a firm believer, what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. Like if you were meant to come in and take that's fine. Maybe that my time here is over and God has something else for me, a next level for me. And I won't know unless I move out the way for the next person. So I believe mentorship is really, really big. I mean, we can't get anywhere in life if we don't help each other. And I would be doing not just this next person a disservice, but myself a disservice for not helping them. You know what I mean? Because I'll be missing my blessing too. So it's important.
Exactly. Ooh, I've had some shady people in my day really come through and definitely try to remove a blessing, but it was still meant for me, and I'm still here because they didn't want to help me, or they didn't want to do this, and so
yep.
That's super.
That nobody take it if it's meant for you. Period.
Yeah.
And no, they took it. It wasn't yours. It just wasn't yours, and that's okay. Like, man, and I often believe too, like. When you are put in the worst situations, or you feel like you hit a dead end at a job or something like that, that's God telling you, like, I have something bigger for you. And sometimes even when people get fired, like in this business, and you're being forced out of your position, you don't know what you're capable of until you get out of your comfort zone and have to really think for yourself and figure out, what else am I good at? What other talents do I have? You know, what other gifts do I have? How can I add to this radio personality that I am right now? And it makes you a better person. It makes you a better radio personality, or whatever it is that you want to be. But you have to get out of your comfort zone. And sometimes we're so comfortable that we never want to leave. And God has to literally force you out so you can see.
Exactly.
I know, you know, because you wouldn't have thought about becoming like maybe a teacher, like an educator, and helping the youth, like
Man,
comfort zone.
yes, with my furlough, man, and I'm not scared to talk about it. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Like, COVID happened, but COVID happened for a reason. And, people were forced out of positions, but, I was already teaching college and bringing in people, but now I get to touch high school students who want to get this game and learn early.
Yep.
So I'm lit. Like, I don't know, I don't know what was in the favor of what our Father got for us, but right now I can definitely tell you that He put me in these kids' lives for me to show them, people like you, for me to show them young jazz, for me to show them, plenty of everybody, so they can see if they want to even do this. If I had somebody telling me this is what I want to do and this is how you should do it, or just guiding me, it'll be a different story.
Yep. Exactly.
It'll be a different story.
Exactly.
This is interesting. So can you talk a little bit about, being on a morning show and then still doing middays? Like, talk about that grind. Like, I mean, I don't know nobody doing that. I really don't.
I think this is the most I've ever worked in my entire life. Nothing I know. This is the toughest, and this is the most I've worked in my entire life, my entire career. But everything that I did prior to this have prepared me for this. You know what I mean? Every single radio station I've been at, my professionalism that I bring to the table with the morning show, I had to go through everything. I had to go through every single situation and every single station in order for me to be right for this position. And God designed this position just for me. You know what I mean? I never thought that I was going to come here in Houston. I've always wanted to do a morning show. I never thought, hey, I'm going to come here to Houston. 3 years later, you're going to be on a morning show in Houston, Texas. I've always wanted to come to Texas, but I never thought I was going to come. I never thought I was really going to get the job here. I'm not going to lie to you. You know what I'm saying? I always knew this is where I wanted to be, but it's tough because I wake up at 3 a.m. It's not tough. I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. But they say you never get used to doing a morning show because of the time. So I wake up at 3, you know what I'm saying? I get up at 3 and I get my mind right and I drink my coffee, make my coffee, and I get ready and head to the station to show prep and stuff like that. And then after that, it's middays. But, when I also get off the air for middays, I'm not done because I have endorsements and there's clients that need this done or that done. And then, like I was telling you earlier, I'm also the voice of stations. And when I say the voice, it's like it's the people be like the guy that goes 97 on the box. Well, I'm a girl version in other markets now because I notice a lot of stations are using young women. You know what I mean? So I fell into that, never thinking in a million years I would do that. Now I want to do it. Now I want to do voiceover work. Like, this is what I want to do. You know what I mean? So when I'm getting off of work, I'm probably doing some reads for that. And then it's like a workout. And then, so my days are like really long, but I'm appreciative. But you have to really, really, really love this. You really have to be passionate about it, because if not, you're going to be aggravated, annoyed, tired every single day. You know what I mean? So you have to really, truly like want to do this and actually love to do it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I tell that to a lot of people who ask me like, hey, I want to be a DJ. I tell them all the time, if you're going to be up late. Like I sometimes there's been times I don't get home till 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I got to be up back at the station to go, we got events and so at the school at 8 a.m. Mm-hmm. So you really got to be able to, hey, like, get with the program. Things change all the time. One DJ might not show up, especially if you want to like
change all the time. We don't have like a set schedule, right? Yeah. It's almost like you're at the hands of when somebody calls you for something. Somebody can call me right now. I gotta go cuss them at the radio station. The job is never over. I'm sending show prep to the guys during the day. They send a show prep back to me because the job is never over.
Yeah, you're right. So how has COVID kind of affected you through this? Has it gave you more work? What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely got more responsibility, but with more responsibility was more exposure. I'm on different markets on the weekend, and that's, just elevated the platform for me. You know what I'm saying? And just think about trying to start a new morning show, and then COVID hits a month and a half later. You know what I mean? That was, for us, in my mind, I thought it was going to be a challenge, and it was a challenge, but what it did was gave us an opportunity to gain trust within our audience, because when no one else was there, because everybody else was at home, we came in the radio station and we still did our show, and we were informing our audience on, what's going on with COVID-19. We were there for them, taking their calls, where they can get free tests, so you're building that trust with your audience and that camaraderie with your audience. So, what was meant to maybe stall, something, it really helped us, to me, in the morning show. But the listening habits are different. So now we're having to learn, okay, these are the hours now because people are in the car at this time opposed to this time now because of COVID. So radio is changing too because of that.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And to be honest, I didn't even think of it that way until you put that in perspective for me. Things are changing. Radio is changing. And, even though you gained a lot of more responsibility, it just became a lot more for you to elevate as well and put your voice out there for many to hear.
A lot more. And then from even with this, COVID has taught me how to find peace and find my balance. You know what I mean? Because at first I was a wreck, like this is just too much. And then it said, okay, it was like, no, okay, you need to do this at this time, you need to do this and that time. And then I was like, okay, if I'm working hard during the week, if I'm able to record before I leave on the weekends, I'm about to get on a plane and leave Friday at 10 o'clock after the show, or Friday at 2 o'clock after the midday show. So that's where I start finding my peace and my balance. Like, oh, this is what makes me happy. This is what I like to do. I need to get up and go see my friends that live in Cincinnati and live here and live there, just to get 48 hours of that good energy from my people. You have to find out what works for you. And I found out that's what works for me.
And it's funny. It's funny that you say that, because I feel like in my time of just being in radio, I did a lot of ripping and running, to the point to where I never slowed down. And so when I say I never slowed down, I mean, I have a fiance now, and it was literally all because of a job.
I was like, wait, I saw you online. I said, wait, when did this happen? Am I tripping? Or maybe she's been with this person, it was a secret, or what is going on? Congratulations. Your whole fiance, that was just your man, okay?
Well, look, see, I had to sit down somewhere for something like that to happen to me. Like, I literally, everything was taken away from me, and not in a bad way. Like, I didn't DJ for 5 months. I wasn't, going to the station no more. I didn't have any work to do at school. Literally everything stopped. But then when it stopped, I got to bring this amazing person in my life and have him here, and he's like my peace. Like, when I tell you my peace, like, he literally helped me through COVID, because that was a tough time, just because I felt like I was losing my own mind because I wasn't doing nothing. Just imagine DJing every day. I mean, this.
I know how y'all DJs, y'all really DJ every night. Like,
I cannot make this stuff up. I literally thought I was losing my mind. I believe
you.
I don't know what to do. And so it's funny that you said that. And I honestly think that COVID was kind of like a blessing for us all. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, that works. Okay. I'm sorry. We really,
I'm like, congratulations. Okay. Because, people always say women, it's so hard to have it all. And no, you really can have a man. Well, I ain't got no man, and don't be having, I don't never got no man, girl. But I smile at that, because I love to see like women really being able to be loved on, and somebody leading. And because I know how tough our job is, right? I know how strenuous it is on us, and how when we go home, we just want somebody just to love on us. That's it. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about this, that, material stuff. You really just want somebody who's truly there for you and love on you, especially when you are a woman in our position. So I'm happy for you, girl.
Thank you. And it's funny that you talked about this, because this is one of my questions for you. As a Black woman, are you faced with wanting a family or chasing that dream? Like, how does it work for you?
Like, I love chasing a dream. Don't get me wrong. But do I desire a family? I don't. The thing is, like, I never said I want kids or I don't want kids. Like, it never was really a thing for me. Like, I was always like, if I was with somebody and I had a kid, then I would have the kid, and that's just what it is. I never was one of those people that say, I gotta have kids, or I don't want no kids. It's just never been that for me. So I've always felt like if I found the right person and, was madly in love with this person, and this is the person I was going to be on this life journey with, and yeah, let's do it. But girl, I'm so far from that. I literally have not found anybody, or nobody has found me worth even doing that, or that stay around long enough, girl.
Well, things just come out the blue. I mean, I'm a prime example. Wasn't nobody even looking for me to be doing nothing but spinning mix. I'm a mixer. That's it. Nobody was looking. I don't even post personal things on my page like that. Like, and it really did come out the blue. I cannot make this stuff up. So this could be coming out the blue for you.
Listen, I'm just like, where? Because I'm like tired. Not for I'm like tired of waiting. I don't even be waiting, man. I'd be like, you know what? And when I do start dating somebody, it's always ends up being a distraction, which I know that wasn't the person for me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, that's true. I feel that exact way. Like, my fiance is definitely like a piece for me. Like, he literally, it's just calm. Like, I cannot make this stuff up. Like, he helps me, not hinder me. So I had to jump on that quick. He think he jumped on me. I jumped on that. Okay.
That's important. No, that's important. That piece is important, man. And especially, like I said, like what we do, I always feel like it's about finding somebody who's not intimidated. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's been like one of my toughest things because, men have portrayed to be a man that's not intimidated, but truly they really are. And the insecurities start to come out, and the insecurities lead them to make me feel like I'm less than, and not really celebrate me because of their insecurities. It just be a whole bout, girl. I'd be like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I don't like that, and I don't want. It's weird because when you talk about just dating, period, that's too much. Like, why do we?
And so I don't even go, like, when I tell you, I've never been the person that, like, oh, somebody's like, let's go on a date, it's never like that. It's literally like, oh, somebody at the gym, what you doing tonight? I'm about to cook. You coming over and cook? That, like, it's literally always situations like that. It's like really always organic. It's never really like the courting thing. And I don't really care to do that whole courting thing because I'm tired. I love having fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love having fun, but I don't have the energy to date multiple guys, different nights, and sitting at a restaurant and trying to I ain't got time for that energy.
Yeah, nobody does though. But honestly, nobody does. But have you? You being who you are, has somebody heard your voice and say, "I think I know you," and then it kind of led to a date? Do you date fans?
I've never done that before. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's scary, right?
I've never done that before. Now, I know people that's worked for this girl at my job. She married a guy who called him the listener line. So, like, it works for certain people. I'm so picky, though. I'm not going to be front. It's not even, like, picky with, oh, you got to have all this money. Like, but I'm really picky because I'm particular about who I let in my space. You know what I mean? I have to be because of one, what I do, but two, I know who I am. I know whose I am. Okay. And I also know, that it's a lot dealing with me. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's hard. I'm not a handful, don't get me wrong, but I know, like, me trying to push my schedule around and like, it's a lot. So
it's a lot. You got to be worth it. For sure.
You have to be worth it. I gotta go to sleep. I go to sleep at 7 o'clock most days. Like, who wants to deal with that? Somebody might want to go on a date with their girlfriends. You know what I mean? Like, not somebody that goes to sleep at 7 p.m.
No, for sure. How did you train your body to do that? Because that's so hard for me.
I don't. Like, I take melatonin.
I was just about to say, you got to be on a melatonin or a Benadryl to go to sleep at 7.
Melatonin. I can't do Benadryl anymore because I heard it messes your body up for real. But I do melatonin. I found some extra strength melatonin, so I'll do that. But it's hard.
Don't have you drowsy the next day?
Melatonin, no. And then I'm an avid coffee drinker, so it's melatonin, coffee, melatonin, coffee, melatonin, coffee, which is not good for your body. I need to figure it out for real.
Man, that's interesting because I always wonder how that works. Like, I interviewed Sybil and Yolanda, and Sybil is my aunt. She's not my real aunt, but I call her auntie. Yolanda is her best friend is my aunt, and they've been together their whole Sybil been in the business for about 28 years, 30.
That's amazing.
And I just be admiring her because you got up for that long.
How many years for girl? Because some days I'd be like, really, why? Who talked me into a morning show?
No, for sure. Like,
why can't I do an afternoon drive type of show? No, but I'm grateful. But people don't understand how tough it is because it's not just like physical. It's mentally, it's emotionally. especially during the COVID time. And then what happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and having to get on air and talk about that every single day, and and both shows every single day, that is draining in within itself. You know what I mean? So you have to like really do some self-care.
No, for sure. Self-care is needed. And it's funny that you kind of talk about self-care and we're talking about health. I wanted to kind of jump into your fibroids. Can you tell me about your story? I know that fibroids affects about 2/3 of women and 80% African American women. So can you just tell me a little bit more about your story? I mean, you're an advocate and it's important.
So these fibroids grow in you, right? Like these fibroids are these, I don't even know how to explain, these big things that just grow in you. And I remember just feeling like really sick. I didn't know what was getting me sick. I felt bloated all the time. Like you feel pregnant, and my back would hurt. But what was worse was my face was breaking out so bad. And I remember being in Atlanta Super Bowl weekend, and I remember me and my friends like drinking, but I was sick, and I was like, why do I keep getting sick? I thought something was wrong with me. And so then the following week I went to LA for my cousin's funeral, and I remember all of us eating afterwards, and I went to the bathroom and I threw up, and I'm like, how am I, like, I'm like, I know I'm pregnant, so I'm just not, what's going on? So I'm gonna be on the airplane, and I remember talking to my boss, I believe, and they were like, you need to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, I went to urgent care. And he started feeling on my stomach. He was like, you don't feel how hard that is? Girl, the bottom of my stomach was hard. It was hard as a rock. I don't know what I thought it was, because I remember I would feel it sometimes like, why is I wonder if everybody's bottom like that. But I would be like, whatever. And he was like, you need to go get an ultrasound now because something's wrong with you. So he sent me to the regular doctor. With the regular doctor, they sent me to get ultrasound. Came back, I had these big fibroids in my stomach, and it causes you to bleed even more. You know, if you're a woman, your cycles are very heavy. Like I said, you feel like you're pregnant. Women have had miscarriages because of fibroids. I mean, there's so many factors that go into it. And so I had to have a procedure done, and I had a myomectomy. And a myomectomy is basically, it's kind of like having a C-section, and they have to cut you from here to here. And I'm like, damn, like, so if I ever have kids, I have to have a C-section now? They were like, yeah. So I had that done, and then, you know, you stay in the hospital for a few days, and then you get sent home. But going through all of this, I had to have an epidural and what is it called to numb you? I'm tripping right now. Anesthesia. So epidural and anesthesia. Had to have an epidural, and I never had a child, right?
What?
So I had to have both of those, and then and so because of the epidural anesthesia, I got really, really sick to where I was throwing up so much, throwing up. When I got released from the hospital, I couldn't keep food down. I'm throwing up at home. I'm like super sick. So my mom had to rush me back to the emergency room after. It was like really, really tough, you know? And then having to be out of work for that long, it was scary because I never had taken, you know, it was God really sitting me down because I had never taken a break. Never taken a break in my entire career. It was like I left one job, moved to the next city, started that Monday, ended the next one on Friday, started that Monday. That's how my life was. And when I look at it in hindsight, because right after I had that surgery, when I was out for like a month and a half, I went back to work, but then my voice was scratchy and hoarse. And then I come to find out I had to get vocal surgery, right? So last year was very tough, but I figured out it was God preparing me for what he was going to bless me with for 2020. So he gave me a morning show. He was like, I elevated you morning show 2020. And I gave you these voiceover jobs and all this other stuff. And it was just like, oh, he had to prepare me because he knew I had to get this stuff fixed. And if I waited any longer, when this came up, you know, he knew I couldn't be stopped at that point. He needed to prepare me for this next phase of my life. So I get and see it from hindsight. Was it fun? Are fibroids fun? No, but I recommend that you do your research, because a lot of women who don't have insurance or have certain insurance, they'll push you towards having a hysterectomy, and that's not the way to go, because because the doctors get a lot of money from the government for you to have a hysterectomy. My sister had a hysterectomy at 32 or 30 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Okay. And talk about people not talking about it. I didn't know my mom had fibroids, had hers moved. I didn't know my granny had fibroids, had hers moved until I had to get mine. They were like, oh yeah, we had ours done too. So it's something that they tell you it's not genetics. I think it is. Right. My granny, my mom, my sister, and I had it, you know, but when you get these hysterectomies, I've talked to so many women who say, you're mentally messed up because, and you have an imbalance because they take out with the hysterectomy, they take out everything that makes you a woman. Because, you know, after hysterectomy, you can't have kids, so take out everything. So I was talking to a woman who said she wouldn't have sex with her husband for about like 5 years after that, because now you're off balance, and you're mentally messed up. So my sister went through the same thing. She had some issues going on, and so it's a lot dealing with that. But a lot of women are walking around and don't know they have them.
Yeah.
Also,
I knew you had the surgery. I knew you had, I don't think I knew too much about the fibroids, but I knew you had the vocal surgery. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dang, my girl, like, I can only imagine, but you telling me about the fibroids, like, I'm over here.
Now I have a cut from here to here. You know what I'm saying? And you can't shrink them naturally. There's a natural thing that you can do, but once they get so big, there's nothing you could do about it. So that's why you have to make sure you get checked for them. Ask your doctor, is something not normal with your cycles, or something that feels weird. Ask your gynecologist, your OBGYN, hey, I need to get tested for fibroids, because they're gonna tell you, oh no, you're fine. They're gonna tell you, and they might tell you, oh, they're small, you don't need to worry about it. No, you do need to worry about it. You need to monitor it. And then, so guess what? I went back to look, and I got more, because it's not like you take the big ones out, but you still, other ones can grow within you. So, I have to monitor mine now. I'm not supposed to even drink coffee or drink alcohol, because that contributes to it growing too.
What? Oh my gosh. Keisha, I am praying for you. Like, I pray that our Father really, he already got his hand on you, but when it comes to just health and you going through that, I can't even imagine. I honestly cannot imagine. And you are so blessed, for sure.
I am. And people like, you took that like a soldier, like a champ. When I was going through it, let me tell you, I was sick. I was like, and I got super skinny, because I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't keep anything down. I mean, for over a month and a half, I was eating like Jello and like eggs or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough. It was really, I had it really hard with my myomectomy surgery, because I got sick. Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Okay. I'm praying for you, mama. And I'm just glad that you kind of showed this on this platform, and you talk about it. And so for people that are experiencing those symptoms, or, just feel like something's off, please go to the doctor.
Ask your OBGYN. And again, if they don't want to test you for it, go to another one. Because they'll tell you what they want to tell you. And my OBGYN, he was so good. He did my surgery, but then he retired after me, and then I had to get a new one. So it's just like, and honestly, when I tell you it's important to have a Black doctor, it's really important to have a Black doctor if you're a Black woman, because they know how to deal with these issues, and they're more compassionate towards you. I'm sorry if anybody gets offended, but they really are more compassionate towards you when it comes to like fibroids. And you hear about infant mortality, and you hear about all these things, you know what I'm saying? And women losing babies, and a lot of it is associated with like fibroids and stuff like that too. I've heard of women pushing out their babies and pushing out a fibroid with their baby. Like,
what? Girl, I need to do my research. I cannot imagine. And you are so right when it comes to having a Black doctor. I get it, and I'm blessed to have some amazing doctors and OBGYNs and stuff like that in my life. And that is I just can't even talk right now, because I'm just like, I didn't know it was that deep, until
it is.
You talk to somebody. Again,
it's something that is not talked about in the Black community often. Like, they're starting to talk about it now, but it's not talked about. And a lot of times your mom or somebody in your family has dealt with it. People just don't talk about it. And it's really a forgotten thing, because sometimes I forget I had it. The only time I remember is because of the scar. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes that, even to this day, like, I'll have pain. The other day, for whatever reason, I was like having pain in my stomach, and it's just like, or some days I'm just like completely fine. So it's just, it's one of those things.
It's definitely a change, for sure. Well, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, man. No, you are really a soldier. With you being a soldier, let's bring it on back. Tell me some of the craziest interviews you ever did, or the most inspiring, if you have any.
The worst interview I ever done in my life was Trinidad James. Remember Gold all in my chain? He was rude to me. And I just remember feeling like, wow, that was so terrible. Like, I bummed this interview, and then I had to go look at other interviews, and I was like, oh, it wasn't me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just catch artists on bad days. But I will always say that some of the best interviews I've ever done have been off camera and off record, and honestly, I just didn't get a chance to capture them. Like, I remember one time, and I tell the story all the time because I had loved Kanye so much. Like Kanye growing up, for me, going through college and, you know, being a college dropout and just being a person that was very, very passionate about what they loved to do and would fight for their dream. Kanye was that for me. So I had always loved him. But I remember St. Pablo tour. Well, let me take it back to when I was the receptionist at KDAY. I'll never forget Kanye coming in, and it was during graduation album. And remember when the shutter shades, he had the shutter shades and all that stuff. I remember the night we went to like Jimmy Kimmel or Jay Leno, one of them shows, and he was performing. And so I had mine on, and he comes in, I'm like, welcome to KDAY, Kanye. And so I was super excited because everybody knows me. They know I love Kanye. So he went and did an interview with the Goodfellas, who were the duo that was on the air at the time. And I remember going to the studio, and I was sat there, and I said to Kanye, like, I started asking him questions. I always felt like if I ever got a chance to talk to Kanye, I'm going to ask all these questions. I had a whole notepad of questions. Now, I didn't bring out the notepad, but I sat there and he asked me. He was so kind to me. And I'll never forget some of the questions I asked him. They asked him on the air, which is so cool because at the time I'm just a receptionist. Like I just am excited to be in the room. And I always tell people, man, I feel like that was my little time, like interviewing Kanye. But fast forward to St. Pablo's, who were backstage. Fonzworth Bentley, one of my good friends, I love him. And by the way, he has an incredible story. I interviewed him one time in an incredible story. Fonzworth Bentley and where he started off and where he is now. I mean, incredible. And so I remember being backstage. We were in Indianapolis, and Fonz was like, we went to the family friends room afterwards. So we're just sitting there, me, my boss, my homeboy was me, and some Colts players. And Kanye comes in the room, and he gets introduced to everybody in the room. You know, Fonz brings him to me. So Kanye pulls a chair down, and my boss looks at me and goes, you're going to get your Kanye interview. And so Kanye pulls a chair to me, and I just sit there and just start talking to Kanye for 30, 45 minutes. Like me and him just talking. Everybody in the room comes around us, watching us have a conversation. And I talked to him about many things, but I always remember that he talked about the Bible so much. He talked about the Bible so much and about his wife, Kim, and his daughter, North. Like he loved his family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when people always ask me, what's your best interview? That wasn't meant to be an interview, but it ended up being an interview for the people that were there. Right. Just live in the moment. And I'll never forget the record label texted my boss and said, Kanye said, thank you for you guys not pulling out your cameras and your phones and stuff like that and just living in the moment. Because we truly did live in the moment. And there's some times that, and I felt like, man, some of my best work, I kid you not, have been off the air or off the record. Just recently, a couple of weeks ago, me and Big Sean, and I always have, when you talk about having good interviews, oh, me and Big Sean have great interviews all the time. And I've been interviewing Big Sean since I was in Louisville, Kentucky in 2011 or 2010. That was my first time interviewing him. And no matter what, and even the 3 times he was in Louisville, I did an interview with him. And then when I went to Indianapolis, and when I went to, you know what I'm saying, and then in Houston, my first weekend in Houston, but our interviews were so good that I never forget going back to Louisville for this Bryson Tiller concert, and Big Sean, Bryson brought out Big Sean, and I was in the back by the dressing rooms, and these people I knew from Louisville were like, oh, you came back to the city. They were like, we'll never forget your Big Sean interviews. They were always so good. Like we would be on the air for like an hour, girl, just talking. And I never bring a paper or pen, nothing to this, because it just was always good energy and good vibes. And I always thank him for being a good person. But fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, we had a Zoom interview, the morning show with Big Sean. They said, you could do Big Sean because, you know, you guys have a report. So I get on there, and me and Big Sean, we're talking about how we're part of each other because we've seen each other literally grow in this business. And we had such a great interview. And when I tell you it was one of my best interviews, it was so good. It was so good. It was amazing. To the point where I had tears in my eyes. I somehow got makeup. I was getting makeup out my eyes or something. Girl, the dang it didn't get recorded on Zoom.
It didn't even get recorded?
It wasn't being recorded. I thought somebody hit record. It was not recorded.
Damn, Gina! What the?
That one was gonna set me off. I was like, this the one. But that was, and so yes, some of my best interviews have been off the record and off air. And I always say Big Sean is my favorite person to interview.
And first off, that Kanye, you know, I'm a huge fan of Big Sean and Kanye. Yes. And I just want to say, like, for some reason, like people in that light really love people who has that genuine good heart, chill, not doing the most. Not
like he pulled a chair up to me though. I was like, to me?
Okay. All right. Look, he Kanye see the light then. He seen that light bounce off of you, shawty. Like that's the energy. Like that's the vibes that people be looking for. Like
you always felt like he and Big Sean represented the dreamer, and I've always been the person that dream big and go after my dreams, and their music always resonated with me because of that. You know, doing whatever you got to do. You know, Kanye, I've been working this grave ship and I ain't made shit. I wish I used to work at CDJs. I used to get on the intercom, girl, and rap that song. Like I was, you know, really big. But to take it back, I think it's been embedded in me. What is it called? Embedded in me. Yeah. When I was in high school, I played basketball, and I was the person that did all of our chants in the huddle. I was the person hosting all of our school rallies, and I think it was just kind of something that was. I know I was supposed to be doing this.
Okay. All right. So this game is called 40 Seconds with 4.0, and it is called Name That Song. All right. So I saw an interview that you did with, I'm not even going to say who it was because you might think back to it. And, you know, you stated that these are some of the songs that everybody should have in their collection.
Okay.
Right. So I am starting the timer. Okay. All right. So Ice Cube is his hit song. He talks about Lakers beating the Supersonic.
Lakers beating the Supersonic. I felt on a big fat pulled out there and killed that nanny. My Jimmy runs deep, so deep with a butt to sleep. We'll go out when she didn't hesitate. Call Ice Cube Top Gun. Sorry, I forgot we're on a timer.
You know what? We are on the timer. Damn, Gina. Okay. So we all strive to be like this. This artist has a hit song. Last name being a color. His hit song is Something to Make You Do Right. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Al Green. Something to make you do wrong, make you do right. Love and Happiness.
Love and Happiness. All right. So this artist is from LA. He is referenced in a lot of movies. It's a popular drink. Mind on My Money is all I'm gonna tell you.
Mind on My Money, money on my mind, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, gin and juice.
Okay. Gin and juice. I was like, what was a drink? Gin and juice.
All right, this is the last one. So it's a homecoming classic. This is a Get the Party Started. It originated in say it again.
Never mind, go ahead. Before I like
it features Lil Wayne and Manny Fresh. They take it for the
99-2000 back that ass too.
Okay then. Okay. You know, 40 seconds already passed, but you know what? We just gonna leave it right there.
That's because I was rapping.
And I'm not cutting none of that out because that's what I need. That's gold. Okay. That's gold. But thank you so much for talking to me. Like literally this feels long. I mean, I'm looking at the time, it feels long, but this literally felt like one of the best conversations I've had in a while. And I appreciate you so much. And so hopefully whoever sees this, you know, they see your story and they just keep striving on to be the best that they can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, 4.0. Thank you so much for having this platform and interviewing women.
Black women. Thank you so much. I love you.
Let me know when the next time you come out here, okay?
It's 40 Seconds with 4.0.